to our first tutorial in the series on drawing the half figure. Before we get into actually drawing the half figure, we're going to dedicate this lesson to drawing hands. Hand gestures are very important in Byzantine iconography because in many ways they do the talking where mouths are silent. They can denote actions, conditions, emotions, etc. Like many other conventional elements used in Byzantine iconography, many of the hand gestures used were common to the Greco-Roman culture of the time. They were a visual language that all people understood. Just as the Church Fathers used the philosophical terms of that time that were understood, but gave them a Christian content, so iconographers used the common visual language of the time, many of which were used by rhetoricians and orators. For example, in Icons of the Annunciation, the Archangel Gabriel is depicted with his hand raised in a gesture that signified the beginning of an important oration. And what could be more important than announcing the coming of Christ? So this gesture shows the very act of speech. This can be seen in the oldest surviving icon of the Annunciation from the 2nd century Catacomb of Priscilla. This oratory gesture, called the exordium, is also probably the original source of Christ's blessing hand, although for the Orthodox Christians, this gesture unmistakably shows Christ's hand raised to give a blessing. The gesture is also used by clergy when blessing others and in icons of the saints who were bishops or priests. The fingers form the letters iota, sigma, chi, sigma, the abbreviation of the Greek for Jesus Christ, Iisus Christos. So we are blessed with the name of Christ. Hand gestures can also be used to point something out. In icons of the Theotokos, she is often pointing to Christ, indicating that He is the way, the truth, and the life. Hands can be raised in prayer. The original form of this is the orant, which can be seen in icons from the Roman catacombs, and in the Platitera icon of the Theotokos, found in the apse of Orthodox churches. This gesture has also been adapted to the single raised hand that we see in icons of the saints. A hand supporting the cheek is a well-known gesture for expressing sorrow, pain and suffering, and originates in classical Greek art. It is often used in icons of the Crucifixion, Lamentations and the Dormition. It can also indicate sleep when the person's eyes are closed, such as when the apostles were asleep in the Garden of Gethsemane. But now that we've briefly discussed hand gestures, let's get on to drawing them. Until you're confident in drawing hands from memory, it helps to build them up in steps. We will first draw a simple outstretched hand with the palm facing outwards. The length of the hand is the same as the oval for the face, in other words, approximately 3/4 of the face. We'll mark off the ends of the hand and divide that into two. Now, on a normal human hand, the fingers are actually slightly shorter than the palm of the hand, but on an icon they can either be the same length as the palm or sometimes even slightly longer, because it gives a more elegant, graceful feel to the icon. We'll draw two lines approximately parallel that will converge towards the fingers. We will add a triangle here, and it's from this triangle that the thumb will come out. The thumb has three parts: the base, the stem, and the tip. And the tip on the outer edge will be slightly concave or straight. We'll draw an asymmetrical line at the tip of the fingers and divide the finger line into 4 equal parts. And then we will start to add the fingers. Note the tip of the fingers don't have a sharp edge like this. They come at a sort of 90-degree angle and then come around like this. third and little finger will overlap the others. As this gives more grace to the hand. So we have the ball of the hand. The index finger can also be slightly separated from the middle finger, like this. And all the fingers are divided into 3 segments, with the tip being the shortest, except from the small finger, where the tip is actually longer than the 2 other segments. And you must make sure when drawing them that these 2 segments meet on the inside and on the outside. Often in icons, the segments will almost blend into each other in hands like this, whereas on the blessing hand they'll be more pronounced. The second hand we're going to draw is the outstretched hand with the back of the hand facing the viewer. So we'll mark off the length of the hand, find the middle, and the third and little finger, because they're bent, will be hidden behind the others. This finger will form a line in front of the thumb over here. And note that the fingernails don't come right to the end of the finger. You don't draw the fingernails like this. Now we'll look at the hand in the raised position with the palm facing the viewer. That's an adaptation of the Arance position. We'll find the top and bottom of our hand, find the middle, slightly curved parallel lines. Find our thumb. Divide the hand into quarters. And put a line for the outline of the fingers here. Again, these fingers can be slightly overlapping. And there we have the raised hand. Now we look at drawing a hand holding the gospel book. So we'll have the palm of our hand here, the back of the palm. We've got to leave room for the fingers to come around the gospel book. So we'll have our gospel book coming around here. Okay. We'll add our triangle over here, where the thumb will come out. We divide the palm into 4. And the fingers will come around the gospel book. And there you have a hand holding the gospel book. Now we look at a similar gesture where the hand is holding onto a cross or a spear. So we have the palm of our hand, we'll have the fingers that will be holding onto a spear, which will come in something like this. Divide that in 4. Finger can be shown to be coming down like this. Now we're going to look at a blessing hand where the back of the hand is facing the viewer, so we don't see the fingers behind. We draw a shape like this for the palm. This finger is going to be bent over. And this basic hand form can be adapted for some other gestures as well. The first of these gestures is a hand holding either a spoon, as with the unmercenary saints where they're holding a medicine box and a spoon, or a saint who's writing and holding a quill. So again we can make a palm shape like this. In this case, both the third finger and the little finger are bent, and you'll have a quill or a spoon being held like that. The same hand position can actually be used as well for a hand that's holding a staff. So if we have a staff, this is usually happens in icons of monastic saints. We have our shape coming like this. There we have a hand holding a staff.